C-Dub on the beat.
Back against the wall, CL20's knocking rated. IGI's tripping, validated, shoot ready. Brown incarceration, got my people living daily. Gang wars back to back till the hole is where they send me. Back against. Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. With that being said, I was on my live last night, and somebody asked me a particular question, and how do I feel about, Bud Light? I've been catching wind on everything that's going on about it. Then I told myself, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to be inappropriate. I don't want to seem a certain type of way. But then I thought about it some more, and I was like, you know what? Eventually I'm going to step out of this, incarcerated genre channel and move on to bigger topics. I said, let me exercise my intelligence real quick. So let's get into it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Look, I've been watching. I've seen some videos that came across my page, and the topics surrounding it. But here's the thing: I don't drink alcohol. I've been sober for 3 years. As much as I would like to indulge, I always wanted to be like, how you see the movies, they always have it's like always a professional business meeting. Anytime you meet up with somebody and they have suits on, they always ask you if you want to drink. They'll put something on the rocks, bourbon, scotch, Remy, whatever your preference was. And then they would just sip, and all these big business meetings, these big business enterprises would always do that. It was like a social convention to, greet somebody with a drink. And I respected it. I would do like hard liquor, dark liquor, as opposed to, Modelo's, Bud Light, Budweiser, all that kind of thing. I always wanted to do that, but I'm afraid to go down that. I'm afraid to take that path and open up old wounds that I've already healed from and, relapse. But anyways, so everybody's mad that Bud Light came out with supporting this particular community and putting these colors and the representative and the spokesperson of what that person is and what that person identifies as. And at first I'm like, bro, it's just alcohol. Just drink it. You're gonna if all of them, if every single brand, which all the alcohol brands I believe are owned by two particular companies. Imagine if they all were, complicit with one another and said, you know what, we're all gonna support this community for everything they've been through, and based on they're one of the biggest trending topics of discussion, big movements. I looked at it like, man, it was a marketing strategy, whether it turned good or turned bad for them. It showed me that there's a lot of phobia that's still going on. There's still a lot of non-acceptance of certain people. And I can't be a hypocrite. I want people to accept me for who I am. And I have a hard time with that with a lot of people. I'm SNY. I'm just bad. I'm bad publicity right now. A lot of rappers won't even collab with me. Oh, bro, you're SNY, bro. I can't do that. And half the time, they're not even active members. They just have friends or relatives who are active members. I don't want to be looked at like that, bro. I can't associate with you. I deal with that type of discrimination. So I don't have a problem with certain particular people and what they want to be identified and what their pronouns is. Hey, whatever you choose to do with your life, that's on you. I'm fine with that. Just don't dictate my life. I won't dictate yours. I'm going to accept you for who you are. You accept me for who I am. Now, I heard Kid Rock openly, got in his feelings about it. He got his panties in a bunch, and then I started seeing a lot of people all over social media. Oh, they're not buying Bud Light no more. They're making fun of it. Like you'll see them go to the store and grab a Bud Light, and they start talking feminine or start talking a particular way. And then they're like, oh, never mind. I'm cool with that. A dude was drinking a beer, and he changed his voice to sound like a woman, and then he poured it out saying, I'll never drink Bud Light again. I'm like, okay. So the phobia still exists, and you disagree with it, but for the simple fact that their spokesperson is this particular individual. Like I said, it's just alcohol. So is everybody going to stop drinking alcohol together? If all of them just started working in unison saying, hey, we need to support this community, what are you guys going to do? Hard liquor? Let's not be too petty about it. Even though Bud Light did suffer $4 billion loss in stocks in a matter of 10 days, I'm pretty sure they're going to gain all that back because people are going to still use that stuff, that type of drink to have a great time. That's how I always looked at alcohol. Was like, man, we're just gonna drink it and have a good time. Makes you feel good. you know, and you're gonna interact with your friends and your relatives and your co-workers and just have a cold brew and enjoy the night. But I see that it's going far. So here's where I stand. These are my firm beliefs. I don't care what product represents what and what the marketing strategy is towards whatever group. I feel like they use it as a marketing strategy, and they ignore the fact that a lot of people that were primary supporters that have been buying these products for years and years and years before this community has came out and the uprising for their rights and their acceptance. Like, don't neglect them because you want to hit a different marketing approach. And the way I feel about it is, I don't care what people want to do with themselves and the transitions they want to make in life. And it's okay to be accepted, and it's okay to preach your rights and preach your equality. But sometimes I feel like certain things are brought to our attention as if they're trying to embed it in our brains for us to believe in it, to it's accepted to the point where it's like, do you want me to accept it so much that you'd probably want me to do it just like you? No, I choose to be a man, and I choose to make love to a woman. Now, I disagree with a lot of the school systems and allowing them to do like classes and drag queen classes to teach the kids what a drag queen is or what this is and what that is. No, I think as the only time that underage kids should be exposed to it and taught this is by the parents. I'm not going to allow the next man, woman, whatever pronoun they want to identify themselves as, to teach my kid anything. I send my kid to school for a basic education. Being taught that he can change his gender isn't gonna further him in life. Ain't gonna make him financially stable and help him gain a future. And I've heard some schools in certain states have the American flag, and they also have the colorful flag. Don't put that in my kids' heads. You can do whatever you want. You can have these discussions with adults, but I don't think this community needs to be having these discussions with kids. Because there's a dude on TikTok, I'm not going to say his name, that's all, every video he starts with is, hello, kids. And he starts talking about their struggles, their unacceptance, how they feel, how they're discriminated against, how they're still visualized as, yucky, yucky. Hey, let's talk about this amongst adults, not to these kids. These kids' brains are still developing even after 18. Let's give these kids an opportunity just to be kids. Enjoy their childhood, enjoy their teenage years without having to deal with these controversial issues and having them going to school questioning themselves because you decided to ask them a question to make them question themselves. See, I don't care what marketing strategies people use, and I don't care what type of publicity they want and what type of promotion they're and message they're trying to send to the society. Just don't do it to the kids. Let the kids just be kids. Let the kids have fun. Let the kids experience life and learn life growing up, what it's like to grow up. Because there's been a lot of instances that I can actually point out that I won't, that could actually cause an uproar and make parents mad about why our children and our teenagers are being exposed to this and being manipulated. Because it's one thing to ask for acceptance and ask to be appreciated and respected for who you are. But when you start conveying your beliefs on somebody else's belief system and trying to convert them to your belief system, it's just like a subtle form of manipulation. And that's what I disagree with. Now, I ain't got a problem. I was in prison with a lot of transgenders, and I accepted them for who they are. I accepted them for the lifestyle they chose to be and who they wanted to be and who they wanted to be with. I ain't got a problem with it because it doesn't interrupt my life and it doesn't interrupt my way of thinking. The only problem that I've ever had with it is I look at it like this. Whatever pronoun you want to be identified with, that's on you. And I'm okay with that. But it's the trans women that want to be identified as biological women. And for some reason they're doing it and they're having this big speech about it. And it's an aggressive speech at that they're biologically women. They identify as a biological woman. No, you don't. Because if you take 10 transgender women, put them on an island and put put 10 regular men on that same island and come back in 100 years, you're going to have 20 skeletons. That's it. But if you put 10 women and 10 men, biological, on that same island and come back in 100 years, you're going to have a thriving society. That's what makes the difference. And the thing that bothers me the most is, okay, you want to be identified as a woman when you're biologically not. I feel like it's getting to that point where it's like they're trying to erase women. It's like we're forgetting the state of womanhood, of what a woman goes through, the emotional stress, the emotional damage, the physical childbearing trauma that they deal with, childbearing in itself, what a woman has to go through mentally to raise kids, to have kids, or to be accepted, like years ago when they weren't accepted in the workforce, when they weren't accepted in society, the way the Bible portrayed them to be less than of a man, that they weren't welcome in the church, they could never be a priest. I mean, there's so much in history that erases the concept of a woman's rights and equal rights as a human being. We're all human beings. You guys are human beings just like us. You want to be identified a certain way? That's fine. But I just feel at some point I start to believe like you can't get rid of a woman. And I understand that a lot of them, they pay for their bodies or they exercise, and some of them, obviously with a lot of the fan bases that they have now, it's becoming a fetish. A lot of guys gravitate towards them and they start to look like beautiful women. But at the end of the day, you're not a woman. I much prefer to have a beautiful woman. I much prefer the presence of a beautiful woman. All women. Biological women at that. See, I'm not gonna follow that trend like a lot of these other people do, just based on the fact that I respect women for what they've done, what they've been through, what they're going through. And it took them not years, but centuries to be accepted in society and to be respected. That's why the whole women empowerment movement was strong and powerful. And I respect that women need to be respected. And I get it. As much as I'm accepting for people who they want to be, you're going to have to just accept my beliefs to the fact that I believe in biological women and what they're capable of. And I'm still standing on that belief system that women deserve their equal rights still to this day. Because they haven't met that height of acceptance yet. They've came a long way. But there's still a lot to work to be done. Because a lot of women still get mistreated. While there's other men over here that want to be identified as a woman who haven't even went through the turmoil and unacceptance of what it's like of actually being a woman, of what a woman goes through, how men treat women. And when they start to suffer that, I'm pretty sure it's going to be another uproar message that they're going to try to convey on us with their belief systems. And we have to accept it. Why? Because we don't want to fall back into old times of discriminating people of unequal rights. Like, nah, miss me with that. Now, I don't care what Bud Light did and what they put on their can. You're going to drink it to drink it. I just think that certain companies utilize this marketing strategy to make a buck. And that's what they failed to realize. Oh, they're using our colorful flag and they're using our community to make more money. That's all it was to Bud Light. It's like, man, we're going to hit this targeted audience, this demographic, and we're going to make billions off of it. But to that community, oh, man, we're being accepted. Oh, they respect us. We're finally getting recognition. No, you were used as a marketing tool. Like, open your eyes and be a little bit smarter and be a little bit more intelligent. But hey, who am I? I'm just a YouTube channel person that talks very well sometimes. But I will end my video like this. There was a tragedy that occurred. And six people were involved and 6 people became victims. But that same community decided to rally a protest and throw up the number 7. 7 being that the person that was doing it, identified as a suspect, was also a victim because of the way he was treated and the way he was bullied. So he retaliated. So they actually glorified that person, that man or woman or whatever pronoun they decided to use. That he was also a victim and that he shouldn't be held accountable and he wasn't at fault for what he did to those other 6 people. When those other 6 people were actually innocent victims, none of them had anything to do with the bullying and mistreatment towards that person. But that's the kind of message that they want to portray towards society, but still demand our respect and demand that they be accepted for who they are and what they want to identify as. That's why this topic is so confusing and so controversial, in which I didn't want to get into it, so to speak. But like I said, great exercise. Thought I'd create a narrative for this story. Overall, I don't drink alcohol regardless, so I don't really care less about Bud Light and what it's doing, because I just think there's a bigger scheme behind it. Like I said, they just utilize this community to start some controversy. You know how they say controversy sells. They may have lost $4 billion in 10 days, but I'm pretty sure they're going to gain it back, because this community is going to say, you know what, we're not buying no other drink other than Bud Light because they support us. So the money's going to go back up. So to me, it was a marketing strategy. Subtle form of capitalism. But yet they fail to see that. But I'm going to end the video with this. If Michael was to identify himself as John, James, and Arthur, that would be considered a mental disorder, because he has split personality. He has multiple personalities. He's bipolar. But if John identified himself as Jessica or Janessa, it's considered comfortably normal. But if Jessica or Janessa decided to pass away and they dig up her skeletons and the DNA comes back as, he was John, that's still comfortably normal to people. But we can't label that a mental disorder. And I think that's pretty messed up, how other people have multiple personalities and they get diagnosed as mentally insane or mentally unstable. See the hypocrisy in all this? That's why it's so hard to embark on these kind of topics, because now I'm going to be viewed in a certain way, which I have no phobias whatsoever. I accept who they are as long as they accept who I am. That's the best message I can do for people. Just don't convey your beliefs onto my beliefs and ask me and pretend like you're not forcing me to believe in what you believe in to the point of converting me. Just ask me to accept who you are, and I'll accept who you are. That's what we all should be doing for one another, because that's what I ask from people, to accept me for who I am, for the choices I made in life, for the good and the bad that I've done, and the positive message that I'm trying to convey to the kids. Like, just stay away from it. I'm not conveying my beliefs on them. I'm just giving them an opportunity to know what's coming, what's out there, so they can make a choice. See, I want people to make a choice, and I'm not going to be here forcing people to make a choice. That's the biggest difference. So with that being said, let me know in the comment section, did I do good on this subject? That being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. Peace.